Are you nervous?
I look like I'm gonna vomit.
Okay.
Our fifth YouTube.
This is number 5. We were only gonna do 4, and here we are.
Overachieving.
Well, how's Kona? First Ironman, first Kona experience?
I had a healthy dose, I think, of respect and fear heading into the race. My aim was to get to the finish line as quickly as possible. And so I didn't feel like I was in the position where I could race it like I normally do. And so I kind of had to be smarter and very much, like normally I like kind of just ride, but it was like, I had to stick to my numbers, I had to respect that, and I still fell apart. So I'm grateful I did what I did, but it was just kind of like, that was kind of the approach, which is something that I don't want next time, because I hope I have a better prep, but you know what, like I'm learning, so if that's the way I have to do it every time for an Ironman, I'll do that. I just want a little bit more prep. But anyway, so the swim, well, I've been criticized for my starting position because I started on the far right. But we got in the water very early, and I know everyone went to the far left, and it was like, and that's where like Lucy and everyone went, and I did probably have to catch up a little bit. I felt like the women were drifting a little bit beyond the start line, and so I started probably not in a best position, but I knew that what would potentially hurt me is like taking things out too fast or doing too much, because I'd pay for that later. So like I needed to be in control, and that helped me a little bit, but I know next time I'll be better. I've made rookie mistake after rookie mistake. Well, the swim, like I think I found a good group because it was like the second group. I had no idea where Lucy was. I thought we were, like you just don't know until you get out of the water. I started to lose my cap though, like maybe like 40 minutes into the swim. I think it was maybe sunscreen, but I don't know, or conditioner. But so I'm still making errors that I shouldn't be making. I'm probably the only pro who, I stopped multiple times during the race, but stopped when I came out of the water and I just like doused myself because I didn't want any salt on me. I was slow in transition. I put my socks on at my bike because it was wet on the pier. I'm not sure what people would recommend in the future, but I wanted to wear socks on the bike. I got out on my bike, and it was probably once I was like, I don't know if it was before I passed Lauren Brandon to go into second place or not, but I like look at my bike and I see a shadow because it was actually, I think when I passed her, because then I'm looking at my shadow to see where she is. And I saw that my bottle cages in the back were empty. And so like and the worst part is that I'd heard all the horror stories, like people lose their nutrition in town. And I had been under the impression like, why didn't you just stop and go get it? But then I soon realized it's a humbling experience. It's like, you know what, like I had no idea I lost those bottles. Like I made an error in that I had rubber bands on my bike, but in the morning I had forgotten to put them over. So that's on me, and that is my responsibility entirely. And like, I'm sorry for anyone else who's been forced under the blame, but that was me. We had rubber bands for a reason, and I didn't put them on. And so I don't know if you can probably just, like, there were some times where I knew I was like using my fingers because I was trying to like count. I had extra gels on board, but I also knew I could take gels on course. And so the 2 bottles I lost, one had super fuel, so 100 grams of carbohydrate. Another had the Scratch Hyperhydration Mix, and that has 1,720, I think, milligrams of sodium. And it also had 17 grams of carbohydrate. And so I had like done my math, counting on both those values. And so in my down tube though, I had a very concentrated mix of those 2 bottles. And so I had taken sodium from a different source though. I just like did the capsules. I think I should be the morning of that I learned that you had to undo capsules and pour them in. But so I had everything I needed on my bike. But then I realized that I could not afford to not stop in Javi. So then, because I'm using my backups to get there. Riding down Javi, it was like the bottle kept falling coming out a little bit from my back. I eventually lost that bottle and got the penalty. It just was what it was, and I was just very grateful I didn't get 3 penalties. Because that was the 3rd bottle I had lost at that point. One happened to be with a referee nearby. Everyone knows I lost 3 bottles, so to get 1 out of 3 penalties, I had to be grateful and not upset in any way. But I was telling everyone that I got a penalty. It wasn't that I was excited. I was just like, there's just 1, thank goodness. But then I got to the place where the penalty tent was supposed to be, and the penalty tent wasn't set up. So I was very worried, and like 2 or 3 miles later, the head referee came by and informed me that it hadn't been set up yet. So don't worry, because I'm worried because if you miss a penalty tent, you're disqualified, but there was no penalty tent for me to stop in. And I was actually very excited for the penalty tent I was planning to refill because I had the extra mix of what I lost in the bottle. So I could have stopped in the minute, refilled the bottle with what I had on me, because you're allowed to take in any nutrition you have with you. So it actually would have been optimal to stop in Maunalani versus at the end of the ride. But you know what, like, I can't control that. I'm just grateful I wasn't DQ'd and I just had to continue on. I would have loved to be able to bridge to Lucy and just like kind of witness her on her day. It's inspiring to see other athletes have those kinds of days that you know they've been working towards for a very, very long time. And it also would have been fantastic if someone like Daniela had ridden up to me. Like, she's one of the greatest to ever do the sport, and to ride that course, and she still holds the bike record. And like, someday I want her to fly by me. Hopefully, like, I'm having a good day and she's having a good day, and then like maybe we can ride together in a legal format. But like, because that's the thing in terms of like learning as a 25-year-old, like, that was my first Kona. I'm hoping I go back to Kona, if not the World Championship. And like, you know what, if it means that you get a place or two lower, but you are better ultimately as an athlete, it's like, for me at least, it's more about like, how can I be the best possible? And I'm very much inspired by my competitors as much as I want to beat them. I do, still. But anyway, so made a transition. I grabbed everything for the run. And I just knew I had to be like cautious. I dropped 2 gels immediately and went back and picked them up. I'm not getting any more littering penalties. And then I also had Vaseline, and I had to run with that thing for a very long time, because the first aid station, I wish that, like, I think they could do with an aid station closer in immediately. But they had an aid station in transition. I just blew by that because I was doing too many things. So live and learn. That was like, the aid station and the transition is very valuable. You should take it. But and then the run, I was told I couldn't run the first 10K faster than 41 minutes. I think I was like 41:01. So like, at that point also, when I'm getting splits to like, I told everyone on my team, like, please stop giving me splits to Lucy, because like, she's having a day. And you know what, like, you just have to respect that. And like, that's actually one of the tough things I think about being in second versus first, is that first you'll get splits to like second, third, fourth, fifth, and that's great. But when you're in second, you only get splits to first. And then there's a whole race behind you, and like, second's still fantastic. Second's a very good position, and you need to hold off third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So it's like, it's very tough when the only piece of information you're getting is forward. So it's really an advantage to be first for a number of reasons, but that's another reason. I did my, I think, yeah, my first 10K the way I was supposed to, and then made it up Palani. That wasn't really fun. That's a tough hill. I made it to the energy lab, still feeling decent. Went into the energy lab, this is getting hot. Came out, was not really loving things. Then like, the last like 10, 12K, I was like, Laura was very close to me, and at that moment I was like, I was wishing I had an extra minute from the penalty. Like, that's would have been very, because then I was like, okay, I kind of want to shut the door, like, and I shut the door on myself. So very much messed up, but like, I think it just like all hit me, like, physically, mentally, and emotionally, probably about 34, 35K on the run. So like, you know what, I'll take it. And I was just like, yeah, I was done for a number of reasons, but and I was very happy to see Laura make her way onto the podium. I mean, she's a fantastic athlete, and that's something that's very well deserved. I know she hasn't had it easy in Kona the past 2 years, and so like, just to see her, like, you have to be happy for that. Sorry, this is a long recap too. People will not be interested in this. Also, on a whole, my experience in Kona is very, very positive. I thought that, so I don't have anything to compare it to, because like, the all women's day, like, that was the first time it's happened, and I think it's very special. Whenever I was asked, like, immediately after the race, I'm like, I want to do another one. So what I'm trying to figure out is what I want to do in the sport, and unfortunately it didn't narrow what I want to do anymore. It almost like expanded it, because I'm really enjoyed it. I think that that's why fourth is like a great position, because it's like, it's not there, and there's still a lot of room to grow and a lot of room to be better, and like, that's fun. It's fun. Like, unfortunately, Ironman's really fun. But I also know that that's not every experience, and my first experience may be like very rosy.